Ask most people who've never trained a martial art who would win in a fight, and they'll usually point to the biggest person in the room. Of course, UFC 1 kind of proved that technique and skill can triumph over size any day, but as fighters all over the world all started to learn the same skills, while weight classes were introduced, and being of the same size once again started to matter even more. But not over in Japan. There is nothing quite like the David and Goliath spectacle of a giant human and a willing, undersized combatant, and these freak show style fights exploded in popularity as a result. But amongst all this chaos, there was one man who would take on anyone regardless of how big they were and how little he might be. And not only did he agree to step in the ring with these Goliaths, this legend often found a way to win. A man truly born without fear suddenly became one of the nation's heroes, and his name was Minowaman. Ikuhisa Minowa started like most Japanese fighters in the early 90s as a pro wrestler. Catch wrestling had travelled from England to their dojos, and quickly though, fake techniques started to get replaced with real ones, along with the desire for actual martial arts competition, and out of that, Pancrase was born, a hybrid wrestling promotion that saw hundreds of these former pro wrestlers suddenly deciding to test their skills for real. The 5'9" Minowa was among them, but at least at first, he wasn't actually any good. In fact, in his first 10 fights, Minowa would pick up just one win. Yeah, not the best start. Then in 1999, Pancrase had their anniversary show, and they thought for some reason, hey, why don't we put this guy up against someone that massively outsizes him? In Pancrase, there were no weight classes. Everyone fought everyone. But even then, still, it was the first time Minowa was going to be truly outsized, matched with the 6'11" Dutch giant and kickboxing champ, Semi Schill. I mean, blimey, the size difference was enormous, but Minowa was about to show exactly why a nation was about to fall in love with him, as he dropped into a combat roll straight to the legs of the giant and took that man down. It kind of backfired though, as Semi got on top. Minowa was forced to simply survive and he'd lose the decision, but it proved one thing: this man had absolutely zero fear in the face of these giants. He would get a chance to fight at UFC 25, however, when the promotion came to the mecca of combat sports in Japan in the year 2000, and after 3 rounds won a doctor's stoppage after he opened up a cut on Joe Slick. It was also the only finish that wasn't a submission that night, so somehow he also won KO of the night. Imagine that.